Maurice never expected the guns to be turned against the masses. Because as eyewitnesses have said, when the armored cars arrived in the port and they opened fire on the people, Maurice's words were, "Oh my God, they have turned guns on the masses."
I think at that time he felt totally and completely betrayed, because he was a person who needed to have a spirit of camaraderie around, and that he got on with everybody. He was not a petty man, malicious, spiteful, conspiratorial, or anything like that. He was a whole person. In fact, his greatest strength perhaps was his greatest weakness, because he made no enemies. And in that sort of atmosphere, deviousness and treachery, I think, must have overcome him at that time. They were placed against a wall at Fort Rupert and mowed down.
What I should say, maybe they were too good. They just took, licks. They never hit anyone. They loved the people. They gave all that they had for the people of Grenada. And without any reason, they were killed. We are yet to find out why. It's a sad situation. From the political years of Grenada that I could recall, I would honestly say what Maurice has done in 4.5 years was never done by any other government. Whether they remained there 10, 20, or 25 years.
Maurice Bishop was one who, quite honestly, changed my lifestyle over the last few years, because I saw for the first time in Maurice Bishop a Grenadian who was prepared to try to bring all forces together, regardless of the political views, regardless of the strata, to try to take a nationalistic approach in developing Grenada, and most important, to improve the quality of life for the majority of Grenadians.
Last night, Mr. Reagan called congressional leaders to the White House to say he had approved the action. This afternoon, Secretary of State Schultz emphasized the U.S. will not be an occupying force.
We will leave promptly. We have no intention of staying there. And the government that will be produced by the people of Grenada is entirely up to them as far as we're concerned.
But in fact, the U.S. has a deep interest in Grenada's government.
On the morning of the invasion, I stayed up at my brother's veranda and looked at the helicopters and everything going down. And then the next morning, people came up to me and said, "Oh, all your buildings on the ground, everything flat." But this one they thought was standing. It was standing, looking at it from the road. They thought it was all right. They say, "Oh, the one you live in is all right." But my dear, when I came down, it was a different story. Every glass in the house was smashed. The whole room was smashed up.
They bombed the house?
They bombed the house, yes. On 2 occasions, we closed up the house, and each time they broke it open. So we refused to close it again.
And the Americans came in here, in the house?
Yes, we
Looking
do.
for who? For what?
For guns, they said, in the roof. And then they got a man to show them the land.
Who were they looking for in the land?
Cubans, they said.
If we do not act promptly and decisively in defense of freedom, new Cubas will arise from the ruins of today's conflicts. Let our friends and our adversaries understand that we will do whatever is prudent and necessary to ensure the peace and security of the Caribbean area.
Cubans really do abuse the people, you know. They help the people a lot because, for instance, the international airport, they will work hard on the international airport, Yeah, both day and night. Then when dry season and thing and water, no water and thing, they use a choke, the water choke, right? To joke water and distribute to the people in different communities, right? Like if you might be working on the international airport and you're building a house, they come and help you.
There's competence any I've met anywhere, and a lot more than some.
You see, I think any construction engineer will tell you when they look at what's been done here, if you looked at photographs of this area before they started and look at where they've got to now, in that time, using the type of plant and machinery that they were using, because it was pretty outdated, they've done exceptionally well. I think any construction engineer, if he was honest, would agree with that.
There was a lot of talk about the airport being a naval base, and everybody was free to go to visit the naval base. Now it seems as though it's an international airport, and people cannot go down there. You have to get past to go. I'm not afraid to say this because it really hurts me. The area I live, I can see the planes taking off and landing on that airport, and it really hurts me to know the people who really sacrificed and went through to get that airport started are not here to see the finishing up of it.
I still feel as though I'm living in a sort of nightmare, but when I wake up, the nightmare is still there, you know. Sometimes I see his car on the road and I still find myself looking in for him and that sort of thing, you know. But I know he's really dead, but it's even harder to face up because, you know, we weren't able to bury him, so there's no grave or anything that you can say, or you can put some flowers or anything. So I think that makes it even harder to really believe that it's happened, you know.
It is amazing, really, when people in the United States today are doing everything possible to try to find out what happened to their relatives in Vietnam a decade ago, that we in Grenada suffer the same fate of a yearning of the people of our country to find out exactly what fate befell a favorite son and favorite sons and daughters, as well as the ordinary people of our country who were butchered with Bishop on the day that he was executed.
Every day that passes, the sentiment and the courage of the people gets stronger. And so any day they hand it over, the level of mass response will be even greater than it would have been in the traumatic period of November and December.
The United States has the information, but of course it will be very damaging to them, because I will tell you with certainty that if the remains, whatever they are handed over tomorrow and an announcement is made to that effect on the radio, there would be thousands and thousands of people who would come out to pay their last respects. And this would be very embarrassing to the United States government, because in all their propaganda, they claim that Bishop was a dictator, cast in the mold of a corporator and conspirator in the Cuban-Soviet axis.